I arrived in Los Angeles when I was 22, dragging a scuffed suitcase and a head full of fragile dreams. I wanted to act, not just be famous, not just be seen, but to perform something that mattered. I wanted to be somebody. Everyone said I had the look. Tan skin, wide eyes, and the kind of youthful fragility that casting directors seem to eat alive. At first, I thought that was a compliment. Now I know better. The first time I met him, Piddy was in the gold-tinted corridors of Empire House Studios. The walls were lined with platinum records and golden trophies. Piddy didn't audition me. He just invited me for a chat in his office. He wore sunglasses indoors, the kind of man who never broke eye contact, even through 2 inches of designer lenses. He didn't ask what roles I wanted or what my dreams were. He asked how far I was willing to go. Then he stood up, walked over, and without warning, laid a hand on my shoulder. It slid down my back like grease.
Fame leaves a mark, baby,
he whispered. I froze. Back at my apartment, I stripped down and stared at myself in the bathroom mirror. My skin still tingled where he touched me. And that's when I saw it. A red handprint, bright, raw, and burning across the middle of my back. It wasn't paint. It wasn't a bruise. It didn't hurt, didn't fade, didn't wipe away. I scrubbed myself until my skin peeled, but the mark stayed. I stopped sleeping, stopped auditioning. My inbox was full, but my soul felt hollow. Weeks passed. Then came the white party. I wasn't invited as a guest. I was just a server. He threatened me, said if I didn't comply, he'd release the casting video from that day online. Everyone was dressed in white. Stark, ceremonial white. The kind of white that hides blood, but never sin. Celebrities mingled with producers. Influencers posed beside men who ran studios like kingdoms. That's when I started seeing them. Red handprints. On the backs of dancers. On the thighs of stylists. Around the necks of young interns. All glowing red under the same kind of white light that revealed mine. A woman leaned over the champagne table, and 5 deep red fingers wrapped around her bicep. It was Piddy's wife. And that's when I understood. Only the marked can see the marks. I was not alone. I joined a quiet group online, a closed circle of those who had seen the red handprints, survivors, not just women, men too, a cameraman, a backup vocalist, a personal trainer, all carried marks from the same parties, same rooms, same man. We shared stories, shared proof. We compiled our evidence, glitches in footage, unedited photos, glimpses of handprints in the cold fluorescence of dressing rooms, green rooms, hotel lobbies. We built a case. I told the others, we can do this. We can fight. But then, I got the message. A voice memo. From a number I didn't recognize, but the voice was unmistakable. Piddy.
You open your mouth, Hannah.
He said, calm as a scalpel.
And I'll open the vault. You know the one. Room 7, white party, champagne room. There's footage. You were drugged, but baby, the camera doesn't care. The internet won't either.
3 days later, the video dropped. Low res, grainy, dim lighting. But my face was unmistakable. I was dazed, barely able to stand. He was behind me, his hand pressed to my skin. It went viral before I could even scream. The headlines didn't say survivor. They said, actress caught in scandal with hip-hop mogul. Nobody forced her. Another clout chaser? Agents dropped me. My email filled with threats and offers, none of them professional. Studios blacklisted me. People whispered. Some looked at me with pity. Most didn't look at all. My career was over. No one wanted to hire the girl from the clip. No one cared how it got made. No one wanted the truth. I received a warning message.
There are still plenty of other casting videos. Be a good girl and do as you're told.
After that, The stories dried up. Some members of our circle vanished. One girl, the bravest among us, was found in a river. No one asked questions. I went back to being invisible. Months later, I saw a young actress stumble out of a club, the same dazed look I'd once worn. She had a fresh red mark just below her collarbone. I turned away. Back home, I stripped in front of the mirror, and I saw. Under the harsh white light, they emerged. Not one, not five, but dozens of red handprints, crawling across my skin like a living plague. My shoulders, my thighs, my neck, my ribs. They weren't bruises, they weren't burns. They were brands, punishments, proof of every time I turned away, every time I stayed quiet, every time I let it happen. I dropped to the floor, shaking. I had wanted to be seen. Now I couldn't look at myself. The marks were everywhere, some new, still glowing, others old, deep like wine stains, faded but never gone. Some fingers dug into my flesh like they were trying to pull me underground. I could barely breathe. Then, a new one appeared right before my eyes. It bled into existence, blooming around my throat like a hand trying to strangle me from the inside out. Just the red, always the red. I clawed at my neck, as if I could rip it off, erase it, scrub myself clean of every secret I'd buried under silence. But the handprints didn't just stain my skin. They owned me. They were justice for the voices I didn't protect. They were the rage of every soul I abandoned to save myself. I curled into a ball on the cold bathroom tiles, sobbing soundlessly, because the red fingers around my throat were no longer symbolic. They were real, and they were winning. But I still had hands, still had breath, so I wrote. I bled it into pages. I titled it, The Red Handprints. It's not a cry for help. It's a record of rot, a monument to the cowardice that lives behind fame and filters. Maybe someone will read it. Maybe not. Maybe they'll see the marks too. Maybe they'll finally scream before it's too late.
I've been up for 4 days straight because of this wisdom tooth. The pain is unbearable, and the fever is making me feel crazy. It feels like the wisdom tooth in my jaw is pulsating with my heartbeat, and its root is growing longer and longer, almost piercing through my jawbone. I've been avoiding the dentist, but I can't take this anymore. I need to get this tooth out. At midnight like this, I was lucky to find a dental clinic on a quiet street. But why don't I have any impression of this clinic, even though I pass by this neighborhood every day? The inside of the clinic was cold and stuffy. There was only one nurse at the reception desk, her face almost completely covered by a large mask. I want to have my wisdom tooth pulled. Is Dr. John here? I want it done right away.
Of course. Dr. John is always ready to serve. But first, let me check your teeth.
The nurse's actions were so strange. It felt like her fingers were gently stroking my teeth as if examining a display item.
Your teeth are all very good.
Hey, that's rude.
You're too sensitive. This is just a basic examination. Dr. John is ready. Let me show you the way.
My anxiety was increasing. I hope it was just a side effect of the fever. The strange nurse led me to a room at the end of the corridor. The room was as big as the entire lobby outside, and the bright lights blinded me.
Hello, I'm Dr. John Hendricks. I'll take care of your dental problem.
I sat down in front of the consultation table and glanced around. At that moment, I heard the nurse whisper to Dr. John that I wanted my wisdom tooth pulled.
Well, We'll have to perform surgery to remove it.
Surgery? He decided to operate just because he listened to a nurse. He didn't even take an x-ray or check my health. Is he even a real doctor? This must be an illegal clinic. Sorry, my tooth doesn't hurt anymore. I'll go now.
No, your tooth needs to be pulled.
This is my tooth. You can't decide for me. The two scammers finally showed their true colors, and I fought back. I accidentally knocked off the nurse's mask, and her horrifying face appeared. She had a mouth like a praying mantis, with only bleeding gums and no teeth. I screamed, and at that moment, the doctor appeared and restrained me from behind. I struggled, but couldn't escape. The monster slowly approached me. He used its bare hands to pull out my two front teeth. The pain was excruciating. Before my eyes, it used its bloody teeth to plug the empty sockets in its own mouth. At that moment, I realized I was dealing with something not human. Let me go! I'll give you anything you want!
Don't worry, we just want your teeth.
The crazy doctor injected me with anesthetic, but he didn't wait for it to take effect before starting to pull my teeth. I felt my head being jerked, and my jaw joint was shaking with each jerk. Then I heard a sickening crack. My jaw was broken. I screamed and cursed at the horrible doctor, but he didn't care. He was only interested in my wisdom tooth. I thought the surgery was over, until the nurse came in holding a tray with 32 strange animal-shaped teeth, exactly the number of teeth in my mouth. The crazy doctor put my wisdom tooth into the empty tray, then picked up an animal tooth. He planted that disgusting tooth into the hole where he had just pulled my tooth out. He pulled out another tooth and replaced it with an animal tooth. One by one, my teeth were replaced. I was overwhelmed by pain, blood loss, and dizziness. I could only endure. I don't know how long it had been, but after seemingly being satisfied with his work, the crazy doctor finally released me. I swore that if I ever got out of that hellhole, I would make those bastards pay. Enduring the pain in my mouth, I took out my phone to call the police. But when I turned around to check the building's address, there was only an empty lot, and no one else was there but me. A terrible fear overwhelmed me. I put on a mask to hide my horrifying teeth and went to a pharmacy to buy some medicine to stop the bleeding. After returning from the bizarre dental clinic, I could feel the animal teeth digging deep into my jaw, and they were continuing to grow longer and longer.
Here's your medicine.
Even though I couldn't see it, I could feel that my face looked terrifying. The strange animal teeth were growing longer, piercing through my jaw, through my tongue, and out of my mouth. And blood was pouring out of my mouth. I tried to run away to avoid the strange looks of the people around me. Suddenly, a military vehicle appeared and blocked my way. They treated me like a strange creature, but they were right. My current appearance was no longer that of a normal human.
Don't be afraid. You've been attacked by SCP-5150, and we will help you.
Madame, his body is reaching its limit. If you wish to maintain your youth, we'll need other options.
Useless.
I never thought I would sell my soul for money. But when you're drowning in debt, morality becomes a luxury. A few months ago, I was just another struggling actor barely scraping by in a city that chews people up and spits them out. I was months behind on rent. Creditors hounded me, and my stomach was almost always empty. I spent my nights rehearsing monologues I never got to perform, hoping for a breakthrough that never came. Then she came, Madame Jennifer, a star of the past, still dazzling, still powerful. I met her during a casting call. I didn't even get the role, but she had other plans for me. She invited me to dinner, proposed something outrageous.
Be mine.
She whispered over a glass of wine, her fingers cold against my wrist.
I'll give you everything.
I thought she was joking. But when she laid out the terms, weekly dates on Mondays, complete financial security, and a life of luxury, I said yes. Who wouldn't? It felt like fate, like my suffering had finally been rewarded. At first, it was perfect. She paid off my debts, dressed me in designer suits, took me to the most exclusive restaurants. I lived in a penthouse with a view of the entire city. It was intoxicating. Every Monday, I accompanied her to extravagant venues, art galleries, five-star hotels, opera houses. She always had a way of making me feel important, her arm linked with mine as if I were her equal. I ignored the whispers from the other guests, the lingering glances of curiosity and envy. But then, the medical exams started.
It's just routine.
She said, brushing my worries aside. Her private doctor, an eerie man with hollow eyes, asked the strangest questions about my diet, my health, my family history. He always took my blood, always smiling when he finished. I thought it was odd, but the money drowned out my concerns.
You're perfect.
He told me once. Jennifer's lips curled into a satisfied smile. That week she saw me 3 times instead of 1. I should have left then, but greed is a cruel thing. Then I noticed something terrifying. Jennifer was aging, not gradually but rapidly. The woman who had seemed in her 40s now looked like she was pushing 70. Her skin sagged, her voice grew weak, and her eyes, once sharp, became cloudy. It was as if she had aged decades overnight. I asked about it. She dismissed me.
Just stress, darling.
Then she stopped seeing me altogether. My calls went unanswered, my texts ignored. A week passed, then 2. I worried. Not for her, but for myself. If she abandoned me, my luxurious life would crumble. Then, one night, she sent a lavish dinner to my penthouse with a note. I'll be away for a bit. Enjoy. I indulged, too drunk on wine and pleasure to care. I slept deeply that night, but something was wrong. In the middle of the night, I awoke to a dull pain in my arm. My body felt sluggish, my limbs heavy. It felt like I was submerged in thick water, unable to move properly. Then I saw her. A decrepit old woman hovered over me, holding a syringe of blood. My scream caught in my throat as the shadows shifted. The more blood she took, the younger she became. Her wrinkles smoothed, her hunched form straightened. And then, I recognized her. Jennifer. I yanked the needle from my arm and bolted. My heart pounded as I stumbled toward the door. My vision swam, my body felt weak, but adrenaline pushed me forward. I could hear her breathing heavily behind me, the sound transforming from the ragged wheeze of an old woman to something stronger, something predatory.
You shouldn't have done that!
She hissed, her voice regaining its seductive lilt. Before I could reach the exit, something struck the back of my head. Darkness swallowed me whole. I woke up restrained in a sterile, dimly lit laboratory. The air was cold, filled with the hum of machines. Tubes were attached to me, siphoning my blood. My arms felt numb, my body cold. I turned my head, dizziness washing over me as I took in the horror around me. There were other tanks, other bodies, unconscious, hooked to machines just like me. Men, young and beautiful, lifelessly drained. How many had there been before me? How many more would there be after? Across the room, Jennifer stood before a mirror, radiant and youthful once more, admiring herself. Her skin glowed with vitality, her posture poised, her lips full of color. It was as if she had been reborn. I struggled against the restraints, a choked sob escaping my lips. The fourth lines in my arms pulsed with a sickening rhythm, my life force flowing into her veins. My head swam, the edges of my vision blurring. She approached, her fingers brushing against my face. Cold. Too cold.
I was afraid for a moment. Afraid you wouldn't be the right fit. But you were perfect.
Her doctor appeared from the shadows, checking the monitors, nodding approvingly.
He still has enough to last another round.
My chest tightened. I wasn't dying. At least, not yet. They weren't done with me. Jennifer leaned in, her lips nearly touching my ear.
Don't worry. When I'm done, I'll find someone new.
As my vision darkened, I tried to scream, but my voice was already gone. The machine continued its work.
Tinky Winky! Dipsy!
La la!
At 78, I was hailed as a humanitarian icon. Tamzin, former orphanage director, who dedicated her life to disabled and abandoned children. That's what the articles said. The interviews, the awards. They called me the mother of the lost, the savior of the forgotten. But if I had a choice, I'd rather they called me Funny Madame. I smiled in all the photographs, practiced humility, spoke of sacrifice. And recently, in celebration of my lifelong service, they gifted me something I didn't even ask for. A lifetime stay at a luxury retirement estate. Private suite, personal caregiver, round-the-clock comfort. All I had to do, they said, was close my eyes.
Just sleep and you'll wake up there.
So I did. And when I woke, the sky had turned grey. The room was tasteful, quiet. No ticking clocks, no footsteps, just stillness. It should have felt peaceful. But peace doesn't hop in the dark. The first night I heard it. Thump. Clack, 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 clack. Footsteps in rhythm, like someone was dancing. Then the TV flickered on. Static. Then colours. Then that god-awful jingle. Tinky Winky. Dipsy. La La. Po. My stomach turned. Something old, rotten, long buried inside me cracked open. With a trembling hand, I grabbed the remote and hit power. The screen went black, but 5 seconds later, back on. I pulled the plug from the wall, still on, still singing. And then my knees cracked, but no nurse in sight. I dragged myself out, looking for them. I thought this package was convenient, but it's completely useless. The hallway was pitch dark, with only the flickering white light outside the window. The wind howled, bitter and sharp as a knife. The clack-clack sound and the TV continued to disturb me. Then, knock-knock, knock-knock. Soft, deliberate, at my door. I opened it. No one. I leaned forward, and something slammed into me. Hard. I crashed face first into snow. The cold stole the scream right out of me. "You little bastard!" I shouted, struggling to sit up. "You think this is funny? You'll be punished, do you hear me?" Only the wind answered, shrieking and gnawing at my skin. I stumbled through the snow, barefoot, tried the windows. All sealed shut. My feet cracked open. Skin tore on the ice. Each step felt like walking on needles dipped in acid. Then, darkness. I woke beneath thick blankets, swaddled like a corpse. A young man stirred porridge beside me.
You shouldn't go out like that,
he said softly.
There are people here who really hate you, even if you don't remember them.
The TV was still on. Still that song. Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, Po. I groaned. Turn it off,
I don't want to hear that nonsense. He didn't move.
Is that why you never let the four of us watch it?
He asked, not looking at me. I narrowed my eyes. You don't understand what it's like taking care of crippled little monsters. You can't afford softness, not when they scream all night and piss themselves. He finally turned to face me, and I froze. His face burned, melted like candle wax, red, raw, one eye white and blind. He smiled.
Oh,
he said. The name struck me like a hammer. No! You died! You died in the fire! That was decades ago.
I lived,
he whispered.
Barely. In darkness. I watched them praise you, worship you.
I tried to crawl out from under the blanket, but I couldn't feel my legs. Maybe they'd gone numb from the earlier cold. Then my legs fell to the floor. I shrieked, screamed until my throat tore. Poe stepped closer, calm.
I helped you?
He said.
You don't have to walk anymore. Just rest. Let us care for you.
He lifted a spoonful of porridge. No, no, don't! He shoved it into my mouth. Boiling hot. I choked, gagged, tried to spit it out. Another spoon, and another.
You used to feed us with rusty spoons, remember? Made us swallow even when we cried. Even when our mouths bled.
I vomited. He sighed.
And now you're just wasting food.
He scooped the vomit back up, fed it to me again. I convulsed, body bucking against the blankets. No use.
You said we should be grateful. That we owed you. You think anyone else would feed freaks like you? That's what you said.
I wept, and I remembered. The attic, the beatings, the night I spilled gasoline, struck the match. 4 people locked in. No one survived. At least that's what I told the press. Electrical fire. I had sobbed in the interviews. Tragic accident. They believed me. Built my statue. Called me saint. Poe rose. Gasoline sloshed in the can he carried.
You wanted silence. Now you'll burn in it.
He poured it across the floor, the curtains, my bed, and my body. The stench of fuel rushed up my nose, sharp and dizzying. The TV blared louder. Tinky Winky? Dipsy? Lala? Poe? Poe struck a match.
You always said, "This is how I take care of you."
He dropped the flame.
Now, let me take care of you the same way.
Fire crawls across the room like a memory. The smoke is thick with screams I once silenced. I crawl, but there's nowhere left to go. The flames kiss my skin, and I think maybe this is what they felt. Above it all, the TV howls. Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, Poe. Again, and again, and again.
They say positivity can be contagious, but I used to wonder if that was really true, or just something people said to make the darkness more bearable. Every morning, I'd wake up feeling like my body was falling apart, yet somehow I would still set up the ring light, adjust the frame, smile through the nausea, and press record. Even though I was fighting a serious illness, I always tried to tell my followers something soft, something hopeful like, Let's make today a little lighter, even if it's just for a minute. Thousands of comments would flood in, pouring love over me like warm sunlight. You're a warrior. You made my day better. But not all of them. It was always the same one. The same blank account. No name, no face, no followers. Just a steady, unrelenting drip of cruelty. At first, I told myself to ignore it, but it clung to me like a shadow. What scared me most was how much this stranger knew. The kind of things I never posted. The chipped ceramic mug I used when my stomach turned. The medication I avoided even when I was desperate. I felt watched, like someone was peeling me open. I confided in Ed. He's been my best friend for years, the one who always picked up the phone at 3 a.m, who carried me when I couldn't walk. I told him everything. He didn't dismiss it. He just held me close and whispered,
"I've been there. I know what it does to your head. I know what it makes you feel. Like you're never safe."
His voice trembled, and for a moment, I saw something crack behind his eyes, something bare, something sharp.
I didn't know when the thorns first broke the surface. Maybe it was the night she hit 1 million followers. Or maybe it started the day I realized people loved her for her pain, while I was just invisible in mine. I never meant to become that person. The comments were just a way to breathe, a small outlet. But each time I pressed send, something inside me twisted. It started with an itch, then a sting. It began with a single thorn pressing beneath the skin of my wrist, then another creeping upward, each one blooming out of rage. It wasn't jealousy, not at first. It was fury. When I was in school, I was severely cyberbullied, but no one ever noticed my cries for help. Why did she get love for breaking while I broke in silence? I convinced myself it was balance, that real friends should share everything, even the weight of pain no one else could see. If I had to carry it alone, then maybe she should feel a sliver of it too. But the thorns didn't stop. They crept farther each day, spreading across my shoulders, winding down my back like roots seeking a way out. Then it was my face. Not all at once, just small changes at first. Subtle grooves at the edges of my cheekbones. Fine lines slicing across my reflection like someone had etched fractures into porcelain. But I noticed. I felt every split as if my skin were being carved from the inside. And still, I kept going, kept typing, kept tearing into anyone who dared to be happy, to be seen, to be loved, especially Rose. Then one day she came over. She hugged me and sobbed, trembling in my arms. But then she flinched, jerked back with a gasp. She said I hurt her, that my skin felt like needles. Did Rose sense that something was off about me? Overwhelmed and unsure of what to say, I came up with an excuse to quickly step outside, just to avoid facing her.
As Ed hurried out the door, he left his phone behind. It buzzed on the table next to me, a new notification lighting up the screen. It was that account, the same anonymous profile that had been tearing me apart with cruel, relentless comments. Maybe this was the answer I'd been afraid to face. Maybe I finally knew who had been hurting me all this time. Why would he do this? He told me he had been a victim too. He knew what that pain felt like. So why would someone who once bled turn around and make someone else bleed? I stood up and quietly left the room, my heart heavy with a storm of disbelief, betrayal, and bitterness. That night, I recorded one final video. I looked straight into the camera and said, "Words, once spoken, can cut deeper than any blade. But I know who you are, and I won't let you keep hiding behind a screen anymore."
When I got home, Rose was gone. That night, I lost control. I typed until my fingers bled. Dozens of comments, rabid and cruel. Not just at Rose, but at anyone. Anyone with light in their voice. The thorns tore through my skin, no longer content to stay beneath. They bloomed outward, ripping through my back, my arms, my chest like twisted roots bursting from concrete. I screamed, I split. I could feel something monstrous rising inside me. Then her final video appeared. She looked right into the lens.
I know who you are. Don't hide behind your screen anymore.
My hands trembled. My throat tightened. What had Rose seen on my phone? Did she know I was the anonymous account? Was this her way of fighting back? Then the comments came. Hundreds. Thousands. You're sick. You're the monster. You destroyed her. I tried to fight back, but every word I typed summoned more thorns. They erupted across my arms, my throat, my legs. My skin peeled apart. And then, the mouths came. Grotesque little mouths, blooming from the base of each thorn, sprouting across my chest, my shoulders, my hands. And they began to whisper, repeating every cruel word I had ever written. They whispered the same words I had once spat at others. The room echoed with them. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't, because now I understood. The hatred I'd hurled at others was the very thing that was tearing me apart.
When I matched with Shelby, I thought I'd found someone truly special. We met on a Bumby dating app, just your typical swipe right kind of place. Nothing about her profile screamed bug lover, which was a relief. See, I've always had a deep, gut-level fear of insects. Instant panic. Shelby seemed perfect, and after a week of talking, I was hooked. So, when she suggested we meet in person, I pushed my fear aside and said yes. It was just one irrational phobia after all. What could possibly go wrong? On our first date, Shelby brought along a companion. A Madagascar hissing cockroach that she introduced with a gentle smile. She stroked its shiny black-brown shell as though it were a kitten.
"This is Manny,"
she said, extending the roach towards me. I smiled, swallowing my surprise. A roach as a pet felt a little unconventional, but I couldn't deny her passion. She was different, unique, and I was intrigued.
I like roaches because when they crawl on my arms, they tickle me.
She murmured, running her fingers down Manny's back.
And when I hold them, they make me feel happy.
Her smile widened and she tilted her head toward me.
Want to try holding him? You might find it addictive.
I tried not to let my discomfort show. Shelby was special, and if she found joy in these creatures, who was I to judge? Tentatively, I held out my hand, but before I could muster the courage, she retracted Manny with a knowing chuckle.
Maybe later.
She teased, her eyes sparkling. The evening flowed, and before I knew it, she was inviting me to her home. She said it was close by and, well, the night was young. I was curious, a little smitten, and before I could talk myself out of it, I agreed. Shelby's house was small and tucked away down a narrow, dark street. I followed her in, and the moment we stepped inside, I noticed something peculiar. At first, I couldn't tell what it was, but then I saw movement. A large shadow shifting near the floor. I blinked, thinking I must have imagined it.
Don't worry.
Shelby whispered, her voice soft and calm.
They're just a little excited. They've been waiting to meet you.
As my eyes adjusted, I saw them. Cockroaches. Massive cockroaches, each nearly 3 feet tall, skittering across the floor. Some even stood on their hind legs, chittering in a way that sounded almost like laughter. Shelby walked forward and petted one of them like it was her pet dog. It shuddered under her touch, its body quivering in what looked disturbingly like affection.
Say hello to my family,
she said, looking over her shoulder at me, her eyes gleaming. Family? I stammered, inching back as one of the cockroaches leaned toward me, its antennae twitching. The sight of its segmented body, its cold, gleaming eyes, sent a chill down my spine. I fought the urge to flee. Shelby reached out, taking my hand. Her grip was surprisingly strong.
Come on, they're friendly,
she said, her tone soothing yet oddly commanding. She guided me into her bedroom, where the scene only grew more grotesque. Her bed was covered in them, hundreds of cockroaches of all sizes, crawling over each other in a sea of writhing bodies. With a contented sigh, Shelby lay down on the bed, letting them swarm over her, their legs and antennae moving in a strange rhythm as if massaging her. She looked at me with a smile of pure satisfaction, patting the bed beside her.
Lie down with me,
she urged.
You'll feel them relax you. It's like a massage.
I wanted to leave. Every nerve in my body screamed at me to run, but her eyes held me captive, and something about her confidence, her sheer conviction, made me feel almost compelled to stay. Trembling, I lowered myself onto the bed, and the instant I touched it, the cockroaches began crawling up my arms and legs, their tiny legs prickling my skin. I clenched my jaw, trying to hold still. Shelby took my hand, her touch warm and reassuring.
Just relax,
she whispered. I took a shaky breath, attempting to let go of my revulsion, but just then, a cockroach launched itself from her shoulder, straight at my face. When I came to, I was no longer lying down. My arms were stretched above my head, bound tightly to the wall, my feet dangling off the floor. I tried to scream, but a sticky substance covered my mouth, muting my voice. Shelby stood across from me, clapping her hands in delight.
Oh, you're awake! Welcome to Shelby's amazing cockroach show.
My mind reeled as she put the helmet into the roaches, then grinned like a showman ready to begin an act.
For our first trick,
she announced,
we're going to launch Manny here through a hoop of fire, right onto our star. Run!
No! I tried to scream, but it came out as a muffled grunt. I watched in horror as she placed Manny, the giant cockroach, into the cannon, lit a small flame in front of it, and with a loud boom, Manny shot through the air, passing through the ring of fire and landing on my face. Its legs scratched my skin as it clung to me, its cold, slimy body pressing against me. Shelby laughed, a wild, gleeful sound.
Let's see how many more we can fit.
One by one, she loaded cockroach after cockroach into the cannon, firing them at me with sadistic glee. They stuck to me, their bodies writhing and squirming, covering me from head to toe in a living, churning mass of shells and legs. I felt something sharp, a bite, followed by another. A strange warmth began spreading through me, a sickening, feverish heat that made my skin crawl even beneath the roaches. My vision blurred as Shelby's laughter filled the room, and a voice echoed in my head, repeating her words from earlier.
Welcome to my family.
I'll only buy this for the lowest price.
I always believed the ocean was my home, even if it was confined within thick glass walls, even if the water was controlled by human hands. I belonged there. Every time I slipped into the tank, weightless and free, I became part of the sea. The fish were my companions, the audience my fleeting admirers. But I was wrong. There were things in the water I should never have trusted. And one day, the water betrayed me. The first sign was the arrival of the new fish. A creature unlike any I had ever seen, massive and ancient-looking, its scales black and slick as oil. Its eyes weren't like the others. There was no dumb curiosity, no mindless drifting. It watched. It understood. I asked my supervisor why we suddenly had the budget to import such a beast. Our company was known for its stinginess, barely affording basic maintenance. He shrugged, muttering something about investment and attracting tourists. But I had my doubts. Still, I tried to bond with it, like I had with all the others. Yet every time I entered the tank, I felt its gaze. Not just observing, calculating. The way it drifted near, but never too close, sent ice crawling down my spine. I told myself I was imagining things. Until the day it attacked. I was rehearsing, gliding through the water, when a shadow moved too fast. I barely had time to turn before it lunged, jaws stretching unnaturally wide. I kicked, twisting away as its teeth snapped inches from my face. Water exploded with motion. A force like a freight train slammed into me, sending me spiraling. The glass walls rattled. Then, chaos. Alarms, staff yelling. They quickly pulled me up, the fish chasing right behind. The containment gates crashed down, trapping it inside its enclosure just before it could reach me again. I clawed my way to the surface, coughing out water, trembling.
That was close.
One of the handlers muttered, but no one checked if I was okay. No one even looked concerned. I stared at the creature through the reinforced bars. It floated there, eerily still, its dark eyes locked onto me. It was waiting. The day of the performance arrived. The tank lights shone, illuminating the artificial coral and the eager faces pressed against the glass. I slipped into my mermaid tail, painted on my usual smile, and dove in. For a while, it was just another show. Twirling, waving at the children, moving with the grace that had taken me years to perfect. The audience clapped, delighted. Then I felt it. Sharp, searing pain. I had brushed against the coral, cutting my hand. A thin trail of red curled into the water. Before I could react, the tank shuddered. A deafening crack echoed through the enclosure as the bars twisted and snapped. The fish rammed them again, bursting free. The water around me convulsed. The crowd's cheers turned to screams. It came for me. I kicked off the rocks, propelling myself toward the surface, but it was faster. A wall of black scales surged beneath me. I twisted mid-water, dodging as it shot past, missing me by inches. I had to get out. Now the exit hatch was near the far end of the tank. I fought through the churning water, every stroke a battle. Behind me, the creature swerved, recalibrating. And then, it lunged. Pain exploded through my ankle. My scream bubbled out uselessly as its teeth clamped down, its powerful jaws crushing into the bone. It yanked me down, deeper, twisting its body to drag me under. My vision blurred. I flailed, trying to pry its mouth open, but its grip was relentless. My mermaid tail, slick, artificial fabric, ripped under the strain. The creature jerked back, and suddenly my legs were free, but the force sent me spiraling, my costume shredded, my body completely exposed. Through the distortion of water and glass, I saw them, the audience, hundreds of eyes staring in horror, in shock, in morbid fascination. I had never felt so vulnerable. The next day they handed me an envelope. That should cover the damages, the manager said flatly. $100. I gaped at him. Are you serious? That thing nearly killed me. My voice wavered, throat tight. I was humiliated, in front of everyone. He shrugged.
It's not a human. What's the big deal?
I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. And me? What about me?
You still have a contract. No one else wants the job, and we have a schedule to maintain.
He smiled, as if I were being unreasonable.
You'll be fine.
I looked at the tank. The creature floated there, as calm as ever, watching, waiting, just like me. They thought I was trapped, but they were wrong. I wasn't just a performer in a costume. I wasn't just another prop in their tank. I was more. And soon, they would see it too.
What was that disgusting creature just now? Don't tell me my camera's malfunctioning. Was that flesh? Ugh, that's disgusting. Sky, are you crazy? How much pressure must she have been under to hurt herself so recklessly like that? Whatever. Cases like this are for the cops to handle. I'm just a journalist, so I'll grab a few shots for reference while I can.
We need to collect your statement and the evidence at the scene. Please cooperate.
Wait a sec, officer. This is my work gear. Good thing I was smart enough to back up all the photos to the cloud. I came to Sky's concert today to cover a story, but I didn't expect to end up witnessing a live suicide scene. Wait, why is the audience reacting so weirdly?
Shin, you're really lucky, you know that? Your report today is definitely going to hit the hot search.
Yeah, I'm organizing the materials for the post, but this photo looks kinda strange. The photo I was just looking at was different, wasn't it? Am I hallucinating or something?
I don't see anything weird. You're probably just stressed out from seeing all that gruesome stuff. Once you've posted the article, take the rest of the day off.
Got it. Thanks, boss. From the concert venue to the police station for a statement, then back to the office to publish the article. It's been almost 24 hours without sleep. What the... Why are you here looking for me? You want me to pull that mic out for you or something? Hey! Was that just a dream? Guess I'm just too exhausted today. I slept straight through until 10 a.m. Rushing to the fridge to grab something to eat, I found the stuff inside all messed up, like something had been rifling through it. But I didn't have time to dwell on it. But along the way, I kept feeling strange stares boring into me. When I turned to look at them, they just stared back with these eerie, twisted smiles, trying to scare me. Please, I'm scarier than any ghost. Just then, the crossing signal sounded and I quickly stepped onto the street. Suddenly, a piercing siren blared, and I saw a car speeding towards me, ready to crush me. I jumped aside just in time, barely saving my life. Once I made it across, I realized I had just run a red light. But I swear I heard the signal go off. And that's when that creature appeared again. The strange hallucinations nearly killed me. I decided to take leave from work and see a doctor immediately.
The results of your MRI and psychological test show some abnormalities. Look here, this is your amygdala, the part that regulates fear. But yours has calcified. It's possible you have a condition called Urbach-Wiethe syndrome, which makes you unable to feel fear. It's caused by a lack of dopamine in your brain, but all your other emotions seem normal.
Not feeling fear, but what does fear even feel like?
Shin, I just got word that everyone who attended Sky's concert is showing signs of depression. Over 10 suicides have already happened. You'd better stay in the hospital for now.
Yes, thanks, boss. I'll be careful. My journalist instincts, recent experiences, and the disturbances at home confirm it. That monster is nearby. All I need to do is set up some surveillance cameras and quietly wait for the results. Another peaceful night passed without any strange dreams. I checked the fridge, and once again something had been there and eaten all the raw food. My job now was to review the camera footage and wait for my enemy to reveal itself. Everything seemed normal until 1:40 a.m. I saw a small creature crawl out of my ear. This creature was parasitizing my brain, so it's the one causing my hallucinations? Suddenly, a crimson hand appeared from behind, pulling my mouth into a grotesque smile. It was that monster. It was trying to fight back, but my heartbeat slowed and my mind was sharper than ever. The monster was so desperate to resist that it couldn't even create a complete illusion. I easily broke through it. It's time to deal with that monster. I'm thrilled. You monster! If you're smart, crawl out now, or we'll both die together. Suddenly, a sharp pain struck my head. Looks like the monster is afraid now. I can feel it crawling out of my head. The monster in front of me grew quickly, fueled by a terrible rage.
You foolish human. Do you really think you can escape?
Why not? With the home camera still recording, I'm about to go full badass and take this monster down. Tomorrow's news will be lit. A needle pierced the monster's heart, but my brain throbbed in pain as if something had stabbed through it as well.
We are one now. If I die, you won't survive either.
Currently, his biological responses and brain activity are still like that of a normal person. The creature's smile can't consume the dopamine in his amygdala and can't kill Shin to find a new host. Now it has consumed and replaced his brainstem.